Hey guys! Alright, welcome to Jen's Makeup Adventures. Today we are going to be doing a Boxycharm unboxing and putting on some makeup because, yeah. Alright, so I guess first I'm going to do my base just to kind of get that out of the way. Oh, this angle. Dear God. Is that better? No, not better. There we go. That's a little better. Now we're a little bit more centered. Oh, you can just make out my background behind the background. That's awesome. That's not exactly what I want, but whatever. All right. So today I'm going to be starting with the ColourPop No Filter ColourPop No Filter ColourPop. Yeah. The ColourPop foundation stick. I've been giving this a go. I will say this works much better with the primer underneath, which is not exactly the most normal thing for me. Like most of the time, I do not like using primers because they end up doing wonky things. So today I'm going to be starting off with a primer. I'm going to use the Cover FX Blurring Primer down my T-zone, just because I don't want this everywhere. Oh dear, that just shot out. So I'm going to be sticking this on my T-zone, a fairly generous amount just for the entire area, just to kind of help blur. The jury is still out for me on whether primers help or hinder my skin. I'm still trying to figure out which foundations break me out, which primers are breaking me out, or if my skin is just going crazy. So I'm just kind of gently pressing this into the skin, turning it red. All right. And then for the rest of my face, because this particular foundation does not like going on my face without primer, I'm going to be using the Luminizer primer from Dr. Brandt. These are ones I've gotten in like Boxycharms. I like them. I don't think they're too bad. But I'm just putting this more on the perimeter of my face so that the foundation stick has a little bit more to stick to. So kind of wherever I did not put the pore minimizing one, I just find that the stick tends to glide better over the primer. So if you ever have issues with a stick foundation just kind of doing weird things, maybe try different primers under it. It might help. All right, and while that sets, I'm going to prime my eyelids just because I like to give my primer a little bit of time to set in. So we're going to save some time rather than just sit here and wait and pat the Urban Decay primer onto my eyelid. I do like this one a lot. I have problems with my eyeshadow separating and creasing throughout the day, so if I do not prime my eyelids, it will vanish within about an hour. Just turn into skinny little lines that go across my eye, and the rest of it is just gone. So priming my eyelids is an absolutely necessary step. All right, so now the whole face is primed. And we can get on to actually putting this foundation stick on. So for this, I'm actually going to use a mirror, make sure that I can see what I'm doing. I just like to put a few stripes down the cheeks, across the chin, across there, a little bit on the nose. Oh, this is an adorable look. Yep, totally digging this. And then just going to take a brush and buff this out. And it buffs out really smooth and easily once those primers are laid down. I know ColourPop does sell a primer, I just haven't tried it yet. This was the first foundation-y type thing that I decided to try from them. I haven't tried the liquid yet. I wasn't exactly wowed by a lot of the reviews on it. in a lot of the videos I saw. So, I don't know. What do you guys think? Have you tried it? Do you think I should try it? Foundation is one of those things I end up being really, really super picky on just because my face breaks out to everything, and most foundations break apart on me, like, really weirdly, and I don't like that. I don't like that if in 2 or 3 hours, if I get really, I mean, granted, nobody's gonna be looking at your face like this, you know? Nobody's right up in there, except for me. I'm the one who gets that close to the mirror and goes, "What the hell is going on with my skin?" And if it can't pass that test, then I'm not very fond of it. I don't like it when my makeup breaks up funny. I don't like it when it's just sinking into my pores and looking speckly or whatnot. All right, so all I'm doing right now, it's all completely blended out. I am just working it further into the skin so that it doesn't just sit on top of my skin. Jury's still out on if I actually like this foundation. I do feel like it kind of sits on my skin, but it's not terrible. I just dipped this in black eyeshadow. Fabulous. All right. So now that I have a more even complexion, and in case you were wondering, I am wearing the shade Light 55C. It matches my neck like perfectly. I thought this was going to be too light, but I mean, in all honesty, it oxidizes just a smidge and then it looks fine. All right, I didn't grab a setting powder. That was dumb. Hold on. All right. So next up, I'm going to be doing my concealer. Whoa. Just to get that out of the way. All right. So I do want to use this Milani Conceal and Perfect again. I've determined it is definitely a little too light for me, so I'm going to be mixing in this ColourPop one that's too dark for me, but I like to use it as a mixer when I'm kind of between shades. This one is in the shade Beige 25. It's a little bit more peachy toned, so it also helps cancel out dark circles. And then this one is in Nude Ivory. And like I said, this one is just a teensy-weensy bit too light. You can kind of see there, just a little bit too light. Coverage isn't terrible. Smells like paint. That's concerning. This one smells a little bit like paint, but a lot less so. The other one, like, straight up smells like paint. All right, so now you can definitely see the difference between this one's too dark and this one's too light. But mixed together, I get a much more natural shade. So I'm just going to kind of very, very lightly sweep them back and forth to kind of mix them together. And I put the lightest one in the corner. That way I get a little bit of an ombre effect. It looks a little bit more natural. And that way it's not too bright out here, but I still get that highlighting effect right there. Hey guys, how's it going? All right. And just gonna make sure that's nicely blended out. I like to crinkle my face. Don't ask me why, but I like to crinkle it. And I end up with all kinds of fun lines down here. So if that happens to you, make sure that when you set it, there's no lines and you do kind of more like an alien face, like really stretch that out, because otherwise you're going to end up with weird crinkles set into your foundation or your concealer. So before I go and set this, I'm going to use the e.l.f. finishing powder in the shade Fair Light. I love this stuff. This is my second one that I've gone through, and obviously I've already hit pan, but it is really beautiful for setting concealer. And it's cheap. Which, if you've never watched my channel before, you know we love stuff that's cheap and works. There's nothing worse than buying something super expensive and it is like doesn't work. God, that drives me nuts. I honestly get so annoyed with certain companies that boast all these fun claims, and then I go to try it. I'm like, this is awful. Case in point, the Tarte Shape Tape Foundation. Dear God, that was awful. All right. Let's see here. Live chat. Oh, that's what's going on. Okay, I totally could not see anything in the chat. Now I can see. All right. Yay, I figured it out. Okay. It's been a while since I've done live stuff, and gosh, that makes me wonder if I just totally missed it the last time people were commenting. Whoopsie. Oh, this is not a cute look. Let's get some of this foundation off the lips. There we go. Whoa. Is that really what my lips look like? No. Okay, now we're right back to where we were. That's wonderful. Apparently I can't figure out where my lips are, and I just keep removing foundation. It's going to be one of those days. All right. That's a little better. Okay, so before I finish the rest of my face, I actually want to get into this Boxycharm. So I have opened it, I have looked at the products, but I haven't really like swatched anything or played with anything. And I know it's February. I'm late. I'm late as hell. I'm hoping that this month I can actually get this done on time instead of the next month, but we've been doing Boxycharm on this channel since this channel started, so we are going to open this Boxycharm. All right. So as per usual, we have our little card. This month's thing was Boxy and Chill. It's cool. Take on Netflix and chill. I can dig that. And the first thing I see is a Briogeo hair milk. The Resorco milk leave reparative. God, why does this itch? That's not a good sign, but it also could just be fur. I have a lot of fur babies, and fur just tends to gravitate to my face. All right, so reparative leave-in conditioning spray. We did actually get something from them like 2 months ago. Looks identical. And this was one of those moments where I was like, what? Are they seriously sending me the same thing like every other month? But this one was the Briogeo Don't Despair Repair Strength and Moisture Leave-In Mask. So this one was just a little bit different. I actually prefer this one over the Resorco Milk one. I've gotten this multiple times in the past, and it's all right. I don't dislike it, but it's not my favorite. But the Strength and Moisture Leave-In Mask, I actually much prefer. I like this one a lot. But then again, I just love like anything to make my hair feel softer. Because when you remove all the pigment from your hair, it can tend to have some issues. I have to very regularly trim off split ends, so you know how that goes. Alrighty. The next thing I see in the box is this $1 Billion Brows Universal Brow Pencil. And this looks like it's going to be in a brown of some sort. So let's see. Yeah, kind of like a medium brown shade, which is fine, but I'm blonde and medium browns tend to be a little bit harsh on me. Either way, we can still give that a shot. The next thing in here is a lippy. And this one I was excited yet not excited to get because I already own this shade. So this is the Ofra liquid lipstick, which these are wonderful. They're great formulas. I like them a lot. And this is in the shade Miami Fever, which is kind of like a burnt orange shade. And yeah, I already own this one, so that kind of sucked. And then we have the Tarte Rainforest of the Sea palette, like full-on Tarte palette. And this one, ooh, that's pretty. So very pretty neutral palette. I'm digging this like really light pink and this kind of taupey shade over here. Very pretty. The whole thing looks like it's a little bit on the shimmery side. I don't know. I mean, these ones look a little bit more matte, but the majority of it looks pretty shimmery. So we'll have to see if we can actually come up with a look with this. I am going to be doing a look with this today, so we can play with that as soon as we get through the last product in this box, which is a Tatcha sheet mask. 2 of them. Very nice. Tatcha products are very pricey, and I can totally dig this. I love sheet masks, so I look forward to trying these out. Very nice. And that was the last thing in the box. So very, very exciting. I love Boxycharm. I do think they have a great product. You always get over like $100 worth of stuff in their boxes for the most part. I think the lowest value one I ever got was like 70 something. And if I don't like something I get in the box, I usually have other people I can give it to. So that kind of works out. Granted, there's a lot of times that I get things in the box that I really, really like, but I end up giving to my friends because, you know, sometimes it's nice to give stuff to your friends. And when you already have palettes that look very, very similar, you tend to give them away. All right. So we are going to play with this right away. This is the Tarte Rainforest of the Sea. Dear God. I can't tell if this is fur or if this foundation just makes me itchy. All right. And the foundation is already starting to like come off right around here. So I'm going to have to touch that up. But that's my own fault because it always comes off there. Don't know why. And it always gathers right around my lip. So I have to actually set that with powder really heavily. Really, really heavily. So we're going to just do that real quick before I do my eyes. All right. That should be better. And just kind of get the nose and the T-zone. We'll just take care of this whole area that likes to melt off my face. The light layer of powder. And let's see. Time to do some eyeshadow. So probably going to keep this fairly simple today. But going to go in with this light shade to begin with just to set the eyeshadow in place. So just on a big fluffy brush, this is just a Morphe fluffy brush. I don't think they make the Gunmetal collection anymore, but I'm sure you can find just one of their big fluffy eyeshadow brushes. I don't own a lot from Morphe, but occasionally I buy things just to try them out and see how they go. A lot of drugstore stuff is just as comparable. Good Lord, I can feel it. There's like fur. I have too many animals. We'll just put it that way. I have 2 dogs and 3 cats, and right now I have 3 dogs staying at my house because one of my dogs that lives with my ex-husband is staying with us for a couple of weeks, and yeah. Oh, I am going in with this other kind of matte-ish shade and just running that in my crease with a smaller fluffy brush. Just kind of messily. This is a fairly light shade as far as I'm noticing, so it's not putting down a whole lot of pigment. But that also makes it a really good beginner palette because you can just really build this up. And sometimes that's what people need. I know a lot of my clients, when they ask for makeup tips, they want to know how in the heck you do your eyeshadow just simply. Just something simple every day for at work, you know? What do I use that's simple, that's not going to like do crazy things? And I always end up sending them toward shades like this that are just very lightly buildable. You can just kind of just see the definition I've put here. So that's a nice transition shade. And I could keep building it, but I'm going to play with another one of these shades. And yeah, they're all kind of shimmery. So, you know, I think I'm going to go in with this kind of taupey shade here and just kind of throw that in the outer corner. By using a fluffy brush, you kind of get rid of a little bit of the shimmer, but it's going to be there. And yeah, so we're just going to fluff that in there. Just keeping this on that outer corner and making sure to blend it out just a little bit. So now we've got a little bit more definition there. I still feel like in person though, this is just very, very subtle. Not sure how exactly it's translating on camera, but it's very, very subtle. But we're going for subtle today. I say that all the time and I end up with a look like I had last time where it was like bright blue. All right, now I'm going to go in with my finger in this pinky shade because this is the one that's kind of calling to me. And I'm just going to run that right across the lid. It's pretty, but it's very, very sheer. This palette is definitely for the people who don't wear a whole lot of makeup on a regular basis. And it's pretty, but it's not very punchy. This is kind of like how I used to do my makeup in high school, minus the skill level, because I would have packed this on to no end and it would have looked a bit ridiculous. But in general, this was a very natural look that I would have done when I was younger. So we're going to stick with that. And I didn't grab like an eyeliner or a brush to line with. You know, I'm going to grab a small brush. All right. So just a skinny little angled brush. This one is a shiny brush. And I'm going to grab this darkest shade here. It's got a little bit of a purple sheen to it. And I'm going to use this just on the outer corner. So keeping this look very natural, I'm just going to put it right on this outer corner here, just to kind of add some definition. Like you can kind of see the difference there. It just adds a little bit of definition and it still keeps things super simple. And I like these angled brushes. They just seem to work the easiest for me when it comes to just putting on eyeliner. I use them for my gel eyeliner as well. This is also the sort of brush I use on my clients. And the nice thing is with a brush like this, you can really just kind of like use the tip and very lightly diffuse it so you don't have like any harsh lines. Unless you want the harsh line. Sometimes I leave the harsh line, sometimes I get rid of it. So now we have just a little bit more definition on the top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that same kind of taupey shade up here, and I'm going to run this along the bottom lash line, just kind of messily. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's a very light shade, but we're just adding a little bit more definition there as well, just like we did on the top. And then we're going to take this darker shade once again, just like we did on the top, and try to wiggle that and stamp it right where the lash line is. And that way we get just a little bit more definition there. And with a nice flat angled brush, you can really just kind of press it right up under the eyelashes and get that definition. All right. And let's see here. That's pretty much it for what I'm going to do with this palette here. But next, I'm going to go in and bronze up the face. So I'm going to take this CoverGirl Vitalist Healthy Powder in the shade Buff Beige, and I'm going to use this to just stamp right under my cheekbones and very, very gently blend out. This is just going to give a little bit of definition to the face and help carve out the cheekbone area. And then just kind of bring that color up into the temple. And once again, just blend that out. So now we have a little bit more definition in the face, not looking so flat anymore. And then I'm going to use this Pretty Vulgar Cosmetics blush. I also received, I believe, in a Boxycharm. And this is the Hush blush in number 18. It's a very pretty shade. However, it is very pigmented. So I'm just going to very carefully just kind of pat into it and then pat it on the face. As you can see, this is very pigmented. And then we're just going to buff that out. Now, if you end up with too much on the cheek, I will show you how to kind of blend that in a little bit better so that you're not like, holy cow, there is so much blush on my face. And you want to use a very light hand with all of this. You don't want to move the foundation that's underneath. So, all right. For the most part, it looks a lot brighter on camera than it does in person. But if you want to diffuse that, you just take the brush that you blended out your foundation with and gently pat around it. And that's going to help diffuse the colors. So I'm just gently taking this brush and patting. I'm not buffing. I'm not doing anything like that. I'm just using whatever's left on the brush to diffuse it. All right. So let's see here. Lastly, we've got highlight. So today I'm going to be using this highlight here. This is the single pan by ColourPop. This is Here Kitty Kitty. And I'm just going to highlight the cheekbones with this. And then just kind of gently diffuse it up. Because we don't want to have just a stripe. You want to make sure that it gets very gently diffused into the skin. And just kind of buffing that in a C motion. The majority of the product you want to have on the high point of your cheekbones. This is really going to just kind of help make them pop. Ooh, that's pretty. All right. And next I'm going to go in with my Snapscara. This is actually a pretty nice formula. It doesn't give a whole lot of volume, but it does emphasize length and it separates really well, which I really like that. I have mine in the shade Black Cherry, which is kind of like a burgundy-ish shade. For the most part, it still just looks black, but I can sit here and say, I have burgundy eyelashes, and I kind of dig that. So just going to go ahead and pop that on the eyelashes. Making sure to get right up to the roots because I have blonde eyelashes, and if I don't, you get a weird effect. All right, and go ahead and do this side. But yeah, it's a pretty color. Like I said, it's a little softer than black. Not as soft as like wearing like a brown. And it has a nice kind of natural lash effect. But it's a bit of a burgundy tone, so it's kind of nice. If you have blue eyes, burgundies really help make them pop. Same with if you have hazel eyes. Burgundies and greens will really like make your eyes pop. All right, lastly, I'm going to put on some lipstick. This is the Flower Beauty lipstick in the shade Cinnamon Crush. This is really pretty. as you can see. Very pretty. It looks really red on camera. It is not that red. This is almost like a nudie brown color, kind of along the lines of like a Lolita, if that makes sense. If you know the Kat Von D Lolita lipstick, you'll know what I'm talking about. Holy crap, that looks really bright on camera, and it is not. This is definitely more of like a dark nude. All right. I don't know why that's showing up that bright. Maybe if I turn off the light. Ooh. No, it still looks red. I don't know. Everything else is looking fairly true to color, except for this lip. It is definitely a lot more of a nude shade. Like dark nude, but nude. Not red. I don't know why it's showing up so red. Let me see. Maybe I can play with the color. This is never a good idea. Ever. Let's just be honest about that. It is never a good idea when I play with the colors. Nope. Now I just look washed out. Yep. That's a little better. So we're going to go with that. It's not perfect. Still looks a little red, but we're a little closer. I don't need to be that bright anyway. All right. Oh, rootage. So yeah, this is pretty much where the look went. Very, very natural, very easy. This is a great look for someone who doesn't wear a lot of makeup. I'll be honest. I mean, if you don't wear a lot of makeup and you just kind of want everyday office makeup, this would work. And you could use any primers that you have, or even drugstore primers. Maybelline has some great ones. I've heard Revlon's pore filler one is really good. And L'Oreal has some decent ones too. So, I mean, there's lots of primers out there that you can use with, a foundation stick. So far, I'm not wowed by the foundation stick, but I don't hate it either. So, plus, like the packaging. I love the packaging. It's so pretty. So, yeah, it's hard to say. There's tons of affordable options out there for makeup. And if you're a beginner, these are some great options. Like the cheaper options, nobody needs to have super fancy brushes. I love Real Techniques brushes. I think they're fantastic. This is my favorite under eye setting one. There's also ones that look just like this that a little bit bigger around that I love for buffing out foundation. And I think they actually come in a set with this. So yeah, lots of inexpensive options for the makeup beginner and for wearing, lighter, more neutrally tones. And believe me, there are tons of palettes very, very similar to this Rainforest of the Sea one at the drugstore that I feel like perform just as well, if not better, because honestly, this did not wow me the way I thought it was going to. It's, for me, Tarte eyeshadows are very hit and miss. So we'll just we'll just leave it at that. But that was pretty much it. That was this Get Ready With Me try on of Boxycharm products. The only thing I did not, I didn't try on, the lipstick or this eyebrow pencil, but I do feel like this is probably going to be a little too dark for me. And the lipstick I already own. And so I don't really want to open this one because I already have one that's open. And I don't really feel like wearing orange lipstick with my pink top today. So, yeah. But, yeah. Otherwise, we tried out the eyeshadow and, I've tried the hair. conditioner. I haven't tried the Tatcha yet, but we'll get there. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you next time. Bye!